When I was in my mid 20s to late 20s, I was an English teacher in Japan, and we didn't make much money. And I'm saying this because I was in a relationship with a girl, and it was her birthday. I wanted to get her a cake, so I went over to the bakery and I spent the last of my money on this cake. And in Japan, you usually only get paid once a month, so you really have to ration it out. And I only made about 1,700 at the time, and after I paid my student loans, there wasn't really much left, and I was struggling. So I got this cake, I put it in my bicycle basket, and I started to head home. And for the first time since I was a child, and the only time since then, I lost control of the bike. And the bike flipped forward. I managed to jump off of it, but the cake went flying, and it smacked on the floor. It was in the box, but it was definitely ruined, and I didn't have enough money to go back and get a new cake. That was the last of my money, and I didn't know what I was going to tell her. So fast forward to her birthday, I brought the box to her, and she opened it up, and inside was a destroyed cake. A lot of it splattered on the side. I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I wanted to get you a new cake, but I just didn't have money. This is all I could afford, and I lost control of the bike, and that was it." She looked happy. I'm pretty sure she was hurt on the inside, but something inside me felt like a complete failure and a loser. And so that was a trigger moment in my life where I realized that I spent my entire time going to college, getting in insane amounts of student debt so I could become an English teacher. And I stuck with that field because I was determined to make a living off this, and it just wasn't working out. So I just went on Google, and I Googled highest paying IT certs, and I started my grind. Fast forward a little bit later, maybe a year and a half, things didn't work out with the last girl, and now I'm dating the girl who would become my fiance. And it was near Christmas time, maybe early December. We were going to go watch the Christmas lights, and we were roughly about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours walking from my home. And I say that because in a moment I'll explain why. And I was having a really good time with her. It was freezing outside. I remember specifically the light temperature said 9 degrees on one of the buildings. And it was great. But again, I was running out of money. I only had about $1.50 or about 220 yen in Japan. And we went to a convenience store, and I saw that there was a bar of chocolate. I had a choice to make. This 220 yen could be spent to get me home, or I could spend it on a snack that I can share with my partner while we enjoyed the lights. And so I made the choice to spend the money on the chocolate so we could, eat and walk around and enjoy the lights. And after that, she didn't know at the time, I began the hour and a half to 2 hour walk home, which, to be honest, the walk home was straight goat wieners because I had to walk an hour and a half and I got hit by diarrhea on the way back. So it was a horrible experience. Why am I telling these stories? Because not long after, I finally managed to land an IT job, and the worst times I thought was over. If you hear squeaking in the background, that's my dog, living their best life with a squeaky toy. I finally managed, after a couple of years of grinding my IT certs and studying and networking, building up relationships with people, I managed to get an IT job in Tokyo for a startup, which eventually went under. And then I managed to get another job in Kobe. And I didn't enjoy the Kobe experience at all. The job was very, very traditional Japanese, cutthroat, workers are not happy kind of thing. So I made the decision to come back to the States. And for a while, I said this in my last video, I started off in a job where I was mostly working in an impound lot. The pay wasn't good, but it paid the bills, which I didn't have much because I live here, which is currently with my family. I'm moving out finally this Friday. I'm really looking forward to that. But it wasn't enough to support myself by myself, and it wasn't enough to support my fiance. And I felt pressure constantly to find a better job, to make more money. And this continued for about a year, and I was constantly applying for jobs, and everybody in America pretty much knows that the job market is garbage. And I'm sure that expands to other countries as well. But I would constantly send applications, and I would get told that, okay, you've been thrown into the pile of 3,000 or 7,000 plus people, which at that point, why even bother? You're not getting it. So during that time, I was building my network, and I really want to mention this right now for everybody watching. Networking is how I got most of my high-paying jobs. And now I don't even bother applying for jobs anymore. Every job I do now is through people I know. And I started to slowly but surely make my way into IT, and I'm where I am now. And here is the most disappointing part. I have finally hit very close to 6 figures. I'm not going to say the exact amount, but you can literally say it's a rounding error. And I'm saying this because this is one of the most disappointing moments of my life. I always thought from when I was a kid that if I could just make $50,000 a year, I would be able to have a house. I would have, nice things. I would have the good stuff. And I carried this idea until roughly around college time, when I realized, wow, it's not actually 50,000. It's now about 100,000, which, when I was a kid, it absolutely was doable at 50,000, but now it's around 100,000. And fast forward to now, I'm basically at that goal, and the goalpost was pushed further back. In order to get the life that I had envisioned, being able to buy a house, and with time, eventually I'll be able to get a house with this current salary. It would take a very long time, but I'll get there. But I realized that the goalpost, it keeps getting pushed further and further away. And when I was in Japan, I made the biggest decision to move back because I felt that my finances were capped. Like there was a ceiling over my head. I'm only allowed to make this much. And in Japan, it's not that high. A lot of the companies that they wanted to bring me on, they only wanted to pay me like $2,000 a month. And I told them I had all this experience in America, and they said it doesn't count because it's not experience in Japan. And when I looked at the higher paying IT jobs, for the seniors and whatnot, it was about 10 million, 11 million, 12 million, which is only about 60, 70,000. And so I came back here in search of a better career, which I'm definitely working towards. And I love my job. Right now, I have literally the best job on the planet. The staff is amazing, super nice. But I'm seeing what happens when I reach toward the end of my IT field, which on average tends to cap out around 120 to 150K. So there's not much more room to go up. And I don't think that it's going to be enough. Realistically, I don't think it's going to be enough. And I know I sound really entitled. Like, holy crap, 120. That's going to, a lot of people would kill to be in my shoes. And I worked hard to get to this point. Lots of late night sacrificing. I spent my evenings outside of work grinding for years, like 5 years plus, building my skills so I can get to where I am. But now that I'm here, I'm not happy. And even if I got a house, I still wouldn't be happy. I still have my student loans, which next year I'm going to aggressively cut that down with my current salary. And my current job it's a contract, so who knows? The contract could end and I'm back to square one with no job come January, mid-January. And that's low-key my biggest fear, because my fiance is moving to America in the beginning of January. And it would suck to have her give up everything, all of her possessions, quit her job, move all the way across the planet, and she can't work until she gets a green card. So that takes about maybe half a year, I think. She can't do anything. She's 100% dependent on me. And for her to arrive and then I lose my job a week or two later, that keeps me up at night. I hate that feeling of knowing that at any moment I can just be cut off. My life got flipped turned upside down. Sounds like Fresh Prince there. It literally got flipped upside down when that company in Tokyo illegally let down my entire department before dissolving the startup. And it set upon this chain of events that resulted in me being better off than ever. So in hindsight, I guess it was a good thing. But, come January, who knows what could happen. I positioned myself so I'll have about a $20,000 cushion in January. So if I do lose the job, I have some breathing room. But what happens after that? What if I cannot find another IT job? This field is so cutthroat right now, and it's so scarce, and wages are being pushed down. And I don't like this feeling. I really don't. I don't like feeling held at the mercy of companies. I don't like feeling that I'm not in control of my life. And that's the main point of the video here, is that I wanted to really take control of my life. And I think about this a lot. How can I start taking action to take control of my life? The biggest one is to become a business owner. The way I see it, the jobs that I've been in, the careers that I've been in, there is an artificial cap. And I'm nearing the cap of mine. But I don't want to have a field tell me that this is how much I can make. This is the limit to how much I'm allowed to make. I don't like that feeling. I want to be in a position where I make money because of me, and there's no limit to how much I can make. I also need to get back in shape. So when I was studying abroad, this is much earlier, maybe 21, 22 in Japan, I was dating a Chinese girl, and she told me something that stuck to me to this very day. She says, "He who cannot control his weight cannot control his life." And I thought that was just like straight bull crap, Sun Tzu, Art of War, BS. I'm like, come on, like really? I can control my money. I can control my everything. And I kind of blew it off at the time. And it's only in recent years has that quote been coming up more and more. And she's absolutely right. I have problems controlling my portions. If somebody puts a plate of food in front of me, I will not stop eating it until it's empty, no matter how much the amount. And that's caused me to get as big as I am right now. It's not so much the junk food, it's the fact that I just eat an insanely large amount of food. And I need to start taking steps to controlling that. I need to start taking steps at cutting down on energy drinks, because that's a big thing that I struggle with. And I need to figure out a plan to put myself in a position where I can gain control of my life. So taking baby steps. I'm moving on Friday. There's a full-on complete gym at my new apartment. And Once I'm there, I'm going to start going on a regular basis. I'm going to start practicing portion control and meal prep. But that's not going to help too much when it comes to finances. Of course, the cost of not buying energy drinks and eating healthier and less will save money, yes. But I think I'm going to start a side business. And I know most side businesses, they tend to fail, but I saw a video of a guy who was selling Christmas trees, delivery Christmas trees. And I think I'm going to try that. What's the worst that can happen? I get shot. But, no, ho, ho, ho. So, I'm going to give it a shot. Try some kind of small business. I want to see how much I can make outside of my current job between the months of November and half of December. Because mid-December, the 22nd or 20th, I'm going to fly to Vietnam and meet my fiance's family for the first time, a lot of them. I met the father earlier, and then I'm going to fly to Japan, and we're going to go to Disney and help her pack, and then we're going to come back here to Florida. So I have about a month and a half, and I need to see how much I will be able to generate on my own, outside of a company, within a month and a half. And who knows, I could probably lose money in this, but hey, that's what the $20,000 cushion is for. I'm just going to keep it simple. The video that they did, he printed out ads and he walked around, plazas and whatnot, gave it to people for tree deliveries. And I don't remember his name, but I'm going to link the video in the bottom so you guys can find it later on. And then he also went on Facebook Marketplace and he advertised the tree thing. And by the end of it, he was pulling in like $1,000 a day, basically transporting trees. It's like Uber Eats, but for Christmas trees. And he was setting his own prices. I don't know if I'll make $1,000 a day, but if I could make $100 a day profit after I, deduct the gas, I would say that's a win. And I'm going to start documenting this on this channel. So you guys know that for the most part, I'm a pretty average dude. I don't come from much. I'm fat. I'm balding. I have that big old Vegeta's Widow peak right there. On a good day, if I can fluff my hair out just right, I'll look like an iPhone. But, yeah, I got that race against the clock before I got to go bald. I'm a pretty average guy. I have not much going for me other than my current contract and my IT skills that I spent years building and my social network. So, let's see what happens. Well, that's pretty much it. You guys get a little bit of a insight on the future content of these videos. There's going to be videos of me going to the gym. There's going to be videos of me flying to Vietnam. And I'm going to try to force myself to do something in Vietnam that I would normally do. Step out of my comfort zone. And you're going to see videos of me doing this Christmas tree thing. And we'll see what happens. So, this is kind of a long video, but yeah, I want to start taking steps to take control of my life, and that's what I'm going to do. Little by little. All right? Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.